Hi, it's Scola and welcome back to the Penguin platform. So today I'm going to be talking about representation in TV, movies and books, of course. Obviously it is Black History Month, which is why we're talking about this, but at the same time this is something that we should keep talking about all year round because it's such an important thing to just keep at the forefront so that we can really make changes. So I really wanted to take it back to me growing up and what representation was like for me and how often I actually saw people that looked like me in the media. So I'm going to start off with TV. I remember the people that I used to see growing up included like Lenny Henry and Reggie Yates, which is still somebody that I absolutely love and somebody that I really admire because he went from being in children's TV and going on to progress to being an amazing documentary maker, and his career is one that I really look up to because it's like, wow, somebody that looks like me really managed to progress and do amazing things. And I started off in children's TV now, so I'm like, look at what I could possibly do if I wanted to. So that's always a really nice feeling, and I think that's why representation is important, because just that one example just goes to show that now I'm inspired. Now I've sort of thought to myself, actually this is another career path I could go down, and I never would have thought of that if I hadn't seen this person that sort of looks like me. And I just think that's why representation is so important, especially for younger people, because that's where it matters the most, because that's when you're really sort of formulating your ideas, deciding what you want to do, who you want to be, and all these sort of things. And if you're not seeing enough of what looks like you or things that you can relate to, how can you really think bigger than what you've been given? So if all you see on TV as a certain sort of representation, then it's not going to be enough, because there's just not enough at the moment, I think, in my personal opinion. And growing up I just didn't see enough representation on TV. There was a lot more than other areas of the media, but just not enough. So when it came to movies, it's one of those things where it got to a point where you can pick and choose whether you want to watch a movie that had quite a lot of black people in it or not very many. My family were quite diverse in what we watched, so I got to see quite a fair few films that had black people in it and quite a few that had like just a main cast of white people basically. So there was quite a mixture there, but again, it really struggled to find enough people that I could actually relate to and think, yeah, I get what's going on. Not saying that you have to have the same race as somebody to relate to them, but it's just still very important to be able to see somebody that looks like you in media. And when it comes to books, that is the one place where I have to say the representation was just not the best. Now that I look back on it, I barely ever saw descriptions of black people in a book. Like, I read a lot when I was growing up. My mum used to take me to the library all the time. We had our library cards. Me and my sister would go with our backpacks after school, hit up the library. We'd take out a few books each week and then go and return them. So I was reading a lot when I was growing up, but still I did not see that much representation. I think the first time I came across a book that was won by a black author and also had black people in it was Mallory Blackman's Noughts and Crosses. Now this was a book that was actually recommended to me by an English teacher, so she actually sort of recommended it at school and everything, and I remember her holding up the book and saying, everyone, you should read this because it's a really good book, because she used to do that and sort of recommend books for us to read. Now that I look back on it, I see the importance of it, because if I wanted to go down the path of anything to do with the books, I would have felt way more inspired knowing that there's somebody that looks like me, somebody of my race who actually managed to be successful in this industry. And I think that is so important. It's not even about a career path, it's about hobbies and what somebody is willing to do basically, because if you don't really see your race excelling at something or doing well at something, you feel sort of disheartened, like even if I tried so hard, I'd never be accepted in that industry because they're just not for me. Do you know what I mean? So I think it's so important to have more representation in the media, and especially in books, because it's one of those things where you just find that I can read a whole book and just like not see a description of anybody that looks a little bit different. And even growing up during my teenage years, which is probably when it was most crucial for me to really be able to accept myself and accept my race, I still didn't see that much diversity. Obviously, when you're writing a story and you get an idea for the story, you're not going to just throw in a different kind of race, but I think it's you sort of have to nowadays, because it's sort of a representation of the real world, and the real world is not just made up of white people, it's made up of all kinds of people. And especially some of these books that are set in like New York and London, I'm just reading them thinking, how is there just white people here? These are big cities with a lot of races in them, and you literally just stuck to one race for all the characters. For me, that sounds crazy, and I think there still needs to be so much done for diversity and representation of different races in the media. And it's literally just about people actually looking at that fact, being aware of that fact, and keeping it at the forefront, and not making it into a trend either, because I feel like lately diversity has been a sort of buzzword and a trend, but I don't want it to be that. I want it to be something that people want to do because they actually feel it and they think that it would work well within their TV shows or their movies or their books, and just consider it when they are sort of going to create something cool. Because at the end of the day, society has been conditioned to sort of think very white. So those have just been sort of my thoughts, and I just thought I'd sort of go through how it was for me growing up and all that good stuff. So I hope you found this interesting, but I'd also love to hear your thoughts on this topic as well. Let me know what you think can be done, because I think that's where I struggle the most, finding a really good solution for the problem that isn't just do better, you know, actual things that you could tell somebody to put into place. I'd love you guys to comment down below and let me know what you think could be done for better representation in TV and movies and books, of course. But anyway guys, thank you so much for watching this video. If you haven't already subscribed to the channel, make sure you click that subscribe button, and yeah, just join in the conversation. But thank you for watching. Bye!